Hi everyone. So you wanted easy, and tonight it's going to be leek potato soup. And it's very easy. I don't know if some of you know that I used to have a cafe downtown Adrian, and this was one of my staple soups. I did soups and salads and sandwiches and all kinds of things, but this was one of our favorites. And so I'm going to share it with you tonight. All you need. Now, I have changed my ways to convenience. We're talking about easy cooking. I used to make my own chicken broth. There are times I still do. But today we're going to do easy peasy. So my favorite boxed chicken broth is Swanson, and I do the 33% less sodium chicken broth. You need one of these containers. It's 32 ounces. You're going to need parsley. This happens to be dried. I usually use fresh, but you know I didn't have it. So I'm going to go with the dry. I also usually need 3 to 4 leeks. Tonight I have 2 left. I think I used it in something else. I was going to plan on making potato leek soup, but we're going to make do with it. It's very versatile. It's very, very simple. I'm using Yukon Golds washed. I like the thin-skinned potatoes because I don't want to peel them. So this is going to be really easy. I've washed them. I'm going to cut a few bad spots off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very small potatoes. I weighed them. They're supposed to be about a pound. So it says 2 large or, a pound. Okay. And then you need a half a stick of butter. That's it, folks. So first thing I'm going to do is clean the leeks. I did one. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They're filthy. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't sub anything for these leeks. The leeks are so unique in their flavor and their texture that when you make with this soup, it's got to be leeks. I know they can be expensive, so when they're in season, do the soup. And you won't be sorry. It's a fabulous soup. So I'm going to cut the end off with the root. I'm going to cut all that off. Put that aside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from the dark leaves and I'm going to cut down the center, but I'm not going to cut it all the way through. I'm just going to be able to fan it out. Then I'm going to run cold water, and it is filthy. You're going to see dirt. I'm going to take those outer leaves off that are the dirtiest. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to fan this out. You kind of just open it up and fan it out. Keep it together, and then just keep rinsing water like you do any vegetable and get the dirt off of it. Okay, that's how simple that is. Okay, the leeks are both cleaned. I should have 3 to 4 of them, but we're gonna make do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut them, and I'm gonna keep them fairly big, so I'm gonna cut slices. I cut that down the center, and now I'm gonna go across just like you slice anything. So I'm going to go all the way down. Start with the white side. They look like a giant green onion, but they sure have a very unique flavor and texture. They're mild. They're about the mildest onion there is. We grow them in our garden. Okay, now when you get across a leaf that maybe is kind of hard and weird and maybe dirty, then I just kind of take that off. You kind of know as you're doing it, just like you do lettuce or cabbage or anything. Use your judgment. Okay, don't know if you want to do this whole thing with me. So I think what I'll do is I will come back after I've cut all the leeks up. Okay, I'm back. The leeks have been sliced, cleaned and sliced. And the first thing we're going to do is get a fairly good size, I don't even know what size that is, 5-quart maybe. And this is going to feed, I get leftovers with this. I mean, I eat this for a couple days, so it's going to be a nice for 2 to 4 people basically. So turn your medium heat, take your butter, and put it in the pan and have it melt. You want it to melt. And once it melts, or starts to melt even, you want to just melt it. If you can kind of push it around to help it. I probably should have had room temperature butter, but I didn't. So it's going to be a minute. So it's 1/4 of a cup. Half a stick. Turn it up a little bit and get it going. I'm going to show you, this is supposed to be like a bisque or a cream soup. I like my soups chunky, so I don't tend to use a food processor or immersion blender. I might a little bit, or a masher a little bit, but I want chunks of potatoes. And the leeks will cook down so nicely, you won't have a problem with not blending it. It's up to you. If you like a real smooth soup, then you can go ahead and blend this. Okay, so the butter is melted. Heat is on medium. And I'm going to add the leeks all at once. Into that butter. Okay. And then I'm going to stir them around in that butter, and the butter will coat them. And then they'll cook down. You start with quite a bit. And as you cook, as you know, with any green vegetable, it shrinks as the moisture comes out of it. So I just kind of stir it around and get it so it softens it up and tenders it up a little bit. Totally coats it. This only takes a few minutes normally. Should be able to see this. I think maybe I'll move it closer. Okay, so you want these leeks to be soft but not and cooked but not brown. You don't want to see any brown in there. So you keep stirring them in that butter, and I think they're about ready. They're soft and they're looking much more tender. So at that point, you add your potatoes. I like to cut them bite-sized because I'm not going to process this. I want them all about bite-sized potatoes. So they'll cook down a little bit, but generally, I want them bite-sized. All right. So I stir them around a little bit and get everything in there. This is what it looks like at this point. This is really hot. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is what it looks like. So at this point, you're going to season it and add your chicken broth. So it's about 1/4 of a cup of parsley. And if it's chopped fresh, I do 1/4 of a cup. But if I do dry, I do less. You'll have to just use your guide. I'm going to say 2 tablespoons maybe. And then you're going to do a little bit of salt. It says white pepper. I do have white pepper, and it's just so when you add the cream and the broth, it doesn't show black pepper. You can use the black pepper. It really doesn't matter. So I did use white pepper. I don't always. All right. And now I'm going to add the chicken broth. 32 ounces. Right over the top of it. Now, if you have homemade chicken broth, that's great. If not, no worries. It's just as good with this. They've come a long way. Swanson is what I found the best brand. It tastes the best, more pure, and it's really good. It's all natural. So, there's that. Now, you can see it's very brothy at this point. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring it to a boil, because really we want the potatoes to cook. You're going to bring it to a boil, And then you're going to turn it down and cover it until the potatoes are nice and tender, and that's going to be 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm making potato leek soup today, and I'm back. It's been 25 minutes. The potatoes are nice and tender, and as they cook, they kind of, the starch kind of comes out of them. So it thickens the soup, which is, what you want. Now, sometimes at this point, you can just push some potatoes against the side to make them, to break them up a little bit if you want a little creamier consistency. You can do that. Or you can do a potato masher in there and get them kind of rustic. Or I'm going to use an immersion blender because I only want about a cup creamed, because that will actually naturally thicken the soup, and it just gives this velvety texture. You can do none of the above. You can just eat it like this. I am going to add a little half and half, and we'll do that. What I did want to mention though, I used low sodium chicken broth. If you don't use low sodium chicken broth, don't add the salt, just the pepper and the parsley. And then add salt to taste, but don't add it when you're cooking because, you never know how salty the broth is. So anyway, at this point, I am going to just put my immersion blender down in there for like a second. You're going to laugh. It seems like a waste, but it's easy to clean. So that's about it. Let's see if I got what I want. Yeah, I want it to be just a little creamy. I think I might do one more spurt. Okay, that's about it. And basically it gave me what I wanted. I wanted just a little bit of creaminess. So the potatoes kind of mashed up a little bit. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a really nice. I still have some clumps. I still have some bite-sized pieces in there, but it is creamy and it's come together. All right, so the temperature is off. So at this point, you're supposed to add a half a cup, a half and half. I just eye it, and that's just gonna add another layer of that creamy texture. You do not have to put the cream in it if you don't want to. It's great without it. There are times where I don't. Tonight I'm doing it because this is the complete recipe. So then when you add that milk, it even adds a nicer, creamier. So here I have chunks, but I also have this creaminess. Now I am going to turn it on for a minute, just on very low, just to make sure that that half and half is heated up and blends well into the rest of it. And then at this point, you can add salt. You're going to want to taste it and add salt. And there you go, potato leek soup. Easy peasy. All right.